I think being a father is one of the best feelings in the world, especially when you become a new father. The first time you hold your baby in your hands and you're like, I brought this little human being into the world. You also feel a sense of responsibility like, okay, this have done born, levels don't change. Now I need to sit up because responsibilities don't dey.
Being a father is a call to duty, and it's a privilege. Privilege in the sense that you're called to be an example to people coming behind you.
That experience takes me back to the labor room when I first witnessed the birthing of my first child. And I looked at him, and in my mind, I felt this is mine. It is a feeling I keep reliving every day, and it also comes with a responsibility.
It's about responsibility. The burden is on being a responsible father, not just being a father, being a responsible, available father.
That's an amazing question. I mean, I couldn't imagine what it would be like until, of course, my daughter was given birth to. I mean, I've always anticipated to be a father, but I could not have imagined what the feeling was like when I gave birth to my daughter. And it's so much beautiful that it made me also appreciate my wife and the process of childbirth as a man.
Your question goes beyond what any other person can answer. As a father, if God has not appointed you as a father, you cannot rule over a family.
It has really helped to bring me to that point of consciousness, bringing me to that place of whatever you are doing, someone is watching, and that has put me in that spot of to be very careful what I do because they are watching.
As a man, I found out that children are like sponges. Every single action and inaction you carry out, they observe you, especially in their formative years. Scientists say between the ages of 1 and 5, those are the most critical years for children growing up. So within that period, you have to be careful. So that has made me more responsible. I'm more conscious of my actions and my inactions.
It's that sense of, as a parent, there are no excuses. As a single man, as even as a husband without children, you still feel like you can just figure things out, as they go. But once you start having children, you become a father, you realize that this is not child's play anymore. There is a baby that will need to be fed every day. School fees will come, clothes and everything, and there are no excuses.
Has influenced my concept of finance. It has made me more driven. It has made me more, I would say, more accountable. Though on another side, you may want to say it has made me more careful because I take risk a lot because of my line of work. I'm an entrepreneur, so it's default setting to see that there's trouble somewhere and that's where you want to go. But parenting sort of help you or bring you to that point where you have to then check and you take more calculated risk.
I don't even see myself as a man, sir. First to think about it. Sometimes I think I'm a woman. I mean, it's crazy because this whole thing, especially when you're a father in a in a complete home. When I say complete, I'm not saying that single homes are not complete, but there's a wife there, and you have a wife and you're a father. There's a mother, and two of you are co-parenting together in the same space. Sometimes you see yourself as a woman. You get so. Sometimes you will see yourself as a child, sir, because this whole thing, there's no particular formula. You can't even see yourself sometimes. You just have to survive.
Simple.
Without God, you can't undo those responsibilities because by your power you get overwhelmed by it. But with God, it's just God. Sincerely, you can't explain it. Every father will agree with me, you can't explain it, but God just come true.
The fact remains that any man who is called a father that refuses to provide for his children is not a real man and can never be a real man.
Yes, I try to monitor their content, what they watch online, and I watch their speech and I caution them a lot. It's a lot of job, it's a huge job. And if I must add to this, I used to be a lover of big, large family. I thought I would have so many children, five, because I came from a family of eight. I'm the seventh of the of the pack, and I thought I would do like my parents. But when I saw the responsibility of monitoring two of them, I nobody told me. So yes.
Okay, I don't want to be a role model. I have not gotten up in life any day to say, now, Roy, you will be a role model. I don't care about being a role model. I just care about my character. Because at the end of the day, there's perception and there's character. So I try to do what I can do when I can do it, the best I can do. And I try to make that part of the way my children should see life. That there's a point in life where you will meet adversity. And one of my best verses in the Bible is, if you faint in a time of adversity, your strength is small. So that's Proverbs 24 verse 10. So I try to tell my kids that, look, you missed this or you didn't do it, you have to go back and do it. There's no leaving it. If you've not done something, you have to go back. I try not to think about provision, because things don't cost. The way I deal with that pressure is not to think about the pressure.
It's not easy, especially in a country like Nigeria, with all the pressures and expectations that society puts on a father. This is just expected to deliver. Nobody really wants to know how he does it, so long as he does it, So you have to find a way to cope with that pressure. But again, you understand that you came into this life without manual. Nobody said when you become a father, this is how you are supposed to do things. So you figure it out as you go. You learn, now my children are watching me. I need to behave a certain way because they watch what I do, not what I say.
At the top of that pyramid, this is just pure sincerity, is God. If you look at the concept of fatherhood, parenting, in literal structure, God made every man like himself. Yes, I know we are in the age of feminism and all that. That's a controversial angle. But the original making of any man is a prototype of who God is. With the word man comes pressure. It's a default thing, and I tell you, there is no man on earth, or let's say there's no responsible man on earth that will say they do not have one form of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, you pick what you can and you discard what is not really needed. At the end of the day, you are responsible for how you train your children. But you can always take lessons from how you were trained, the good and the bad. How can I parent better? How am I a better father to my children than my own father was to me? So you take those learnings. At the same time, society generally, there's a direction society is heading, and there's a way some people father children, and you're like, no, me, I'm not going to go this way. So there's personal decision and there's societal expectations.
Oh, most certainly, most certainly. Society has a huge influence on how parenthood is sold to the coming generation. When you look at the home today, how do the majority parents, how do they get to lead their homes? What are their foundations? What are the things they hold dear to? What are those principles? So if you look at our society today, it's flawed, and as a result, they replicate what they see.
Okay, so while I was growing up, I had a very tumultuous relationship with my father. We were not on the same page. He disowned me several times. He told me I was a bastard. Because really, I didn't have sense. I'd be no guess sense that time. But it helped me because I learned to deal with my father. I didn't run away from him. I think one of the traumas people live with is having, run away from their father. They have some unfinished business. So it becomes very traumatic for them. It becomes trauma in their hearts. And then it affects the way they interact with their own children. Maybe they're trying not to be like their father. You cannot try not to be like anybody. You can only be intentional about things, but you can't be intentional about things when you're carrying trauma. It's going to affect you. So I learned to deal with that part, and even before I left the house and got married, I developed a very good relationship with my father. No sentiment, nothing. Now we speak to ourselves like G's, Daddy Alpha, I no grief for this one. We understand ourselves. So I imagine if I had ran away from that and I said, man, this man is a crazy man or whatever, it would have been affecting me today. So I mean, as a father, I'm a father with no trauma.
This is so interesting, because I mean, it took me to be a father to understand my father actually, and then I experienced a lot of things. I mean, my daughter is 3 years, and then in the space of 3 years, I've seen and understood what my father was thinking when I was a child, and all of that. And to be honest, that has helped me also to relate with my daughter better.
That helped me to appreciate all the effort they have put while I was growing up. I never understood certain things that my father would do, not until I became one. For example, I never understood that you have to deny yourself a lot just because you need to meet a need. When I was still single, I could go all out with my money, spend money because I'm only caring for myself. But now, every cover that comes in, you are calculating, and you realize at the end of it, all this calculation, you are not involved in it, but you just have to. So it has helped me to appreciate it. I now realize that my father is a good man.
Yeah, I think it helps you understand them better, because you now wear the father's shoes. You now understand why your father is silent a lot, while it seems like your mom is the one always talking. That his silence, you understand the meaning. You too, you know how it feels when you come back from work and you spend like 5 minutes outside before you enter the house. It dawns on you that almost now my papa they do this thing, he said one dey do am. Some things become very very real to you, and then you forgive him for some of his mistakes, because you now realize, omo, e no easy o, daddy sef e own really try, so me sef I go just try.
Okay, my father died quite early. He was assassinated, if I may say that. So I didn't grow up to really know my father. But there were about 3 people who played a very major role of a father to me. There's a way I usually see them before now, because they were there all the way. They taught me everything. God used them across when I became a father, I started having more regard for them, in the sense that they sacrificed themselves for me. It's a different thing to be single and be able to do charity. Every time that I have received from these people is a form of charity. They could do something better or something different with their time.
I was talking to my Egbon friend, and he said something. He said people always think about inheritance as financial, as money, properties, estates. He said one of the most important things you can pass to your children in terms of value or inheritance is not money, it's words. It's the words you sow into their lives.
Integrity, very key. No matter what, even if the whole world is going crazy, let people be able to rely on your word. But let your yes be yes and your no. You don't be dishonest. And then most importantly, love God. If you love God, part of loving God is fearing Him, is reverencing Him. But once you put God at the center of your life, it will help you arrange those things that are not aligning too much. Like we say, nobody really has this life all figured out, but there's somebody who does. So if you have a relationship with God, every other place in your life, He will help you put it in place. Very important. Be a God-fearing person.
The fear of God. If there's one thing I'm working at, I'm praying at, is for my children to have the fear of God. And then number 2 is a strong work ethic. I love my children to have, or I'm imbibing in them, the culture of a strong work ethics.
Number 1, God. Number 2, every life comes with a challenge. You have to learn to function in chaos.
If there's one thing my father passed on to me is contentment, and that I will always also want to pass on to my children. That it doesn't mean that if you don't have it now, you will not have it. But the point you have, whatever you have, be contented, because contentment puts you in that place of peace.
Because the most important value I want my children to have is to know that without Jesus, they can't, be whoever they want to be in life. That's for me very paramount. And also, I want them to have a value for service, to serve humanity, basically.
Discipline, have the fear of God, and applying it to make sure that at least outsiders are inculcated into it.
Take God more seriously and be willing to die for a family. Literally die.
Fatherhood. But you won't be father. Get money, be prepared. Don't go and sow seeds when you don't have a cutlass to harvest them. I talk to my doctor a lot, so he tells me about something. Some people they don't have money for school fees to even pay hospital bill. But once their wife born, they will borrow money and do a large naming ceremony. God punish naming ceremony. You name your child, call your child the name. They don't born the child where you make no answer. Forget about tradition. Forget about all those things. You don't need to spend any money to name your children or your child. Save that money because you will need it. Nobody send your papa. You have to prepare for your child. The next thing is be prepared mentally. It's not easy. Be prepared, and you have to also be prepared spiritually. Some people that are babalawo, their children, when they are going to school, they used to put charm on them. If you don't pray for your child before your child go to school, your child will go to school crazy. You better be praying for your child. It's not funny. I don't know why you're laughing.
Guy, it's you. But as the don't enter now, fatherhood is coming. Prepare yourself. There is joy in it. There is no better feeling than to carry your own baby in your arms. It's part of the natural order of life. Trust God. Lean not on your own understanding. Acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He will direct your path in fatherhood. Chicken.
If I could give one advice to men out there on fatherhood, is that fatherhood is you reproducing yourself. So the you want people to see is the you have to put in that child, so that people, when they see, they can point it out and say, no, this person is, just like Jesus. The way Jesus does his things, people have to point to the disciples, this is Christ, these people are Christ-like. So for fatherhood, be a duplicate of yourself to your children, and that's how it becomes better. So that means you as a father, you have to do the right thing.
First of all, they should embrace Christ. They should have the fear of God. Because marriage is not a thing that you dabble in and you dabble out. Once you are in, you are in. So youths that are coming up, there should be understanding between the spouse. And that understanding will lead them to embracing the rules and regulations, the ordinances of God.
Don't repeat the mistakes that you've seen in your fathers. Just learn from their mistake. Be better. Make the world a better place. Always keep learning and be better. Be you. God bless you.
I hope they remember me as a madman. When you go outside and go and do that, remember you're coming back to your father. He's a crazy guy. So when I always tell them, say, daddy is, they will say mad. Daddy is what? Crazy. But I know that as long as you leave memories with them, you are there, you are playing with them, you are disciplining them, you are guiding them, you go to church with them, you go for activities with them. Once in a while, you take them to buy fish, suya, whatever. The memories are there. Sometimes when they are eating, you collect their food and eat small from it and say, I beg, let me taste this thing. Sometimes you drink their capsule, now you they buy them. How many daddies have you tasted capsule? It's nice, so once in a while, open like two, put small ice and drink capsule. It's not easy. You're buying Rabina or capsule, you never drink cap. It's not for children, though. Once in a while, eat biscuits.
For me, if you ask me, when they bury me and they want to write an expression, an epitaph for my tombstone. Just he tried. Daddy try. You see how daddy try, there's a lot inside. He try for us, that's all.
As that daddy that cares, as that father that listens, as that father that would want to be part of everything you're doing.
I want my children and children's children, to be able to look at my life and be like, this man had lived his life in such a way that his influence still speaks even when I'm gone. The Bible said that a righteous man leaves inheritance for his children's children. And inheritance in this case is not just about even the material things. Inheritance is also in the name. So I'm looking at when I'm far gone, my name can still, open door, and when people mention my name, they can grant them access in whatever thing they want to do when I'm far gone. And I also want my children to always remember me as a man that loved the Lord and served God with all of his heart.
I like them to remember me with two things. Remember me as a father who loved God more than I love them. Remember me as a father who likes to play rough play. I roll tire with Oluwa. I roll tire. So everybody said, no, don't let them roll tire. So when he came for holiday, I sat him, I taught him how to roll tire. So he likes to choose tires. He said, Daddy, I want the big one. I say, no, take this. So there's G-Wagon, there's Range Rover, there's Venza kind of tire. So he has it. All the tires you see around, they are my son's tire. So he's already practicing how to pick cars with rolling. So we roll tire together.
Oh, that is very clear in my head. The man whose name and resources opens door for them. I want to be that man that leaves an inheritance for my children's children. So I'm not the one looking up to what my children would do for me, rather what my resources would do for them and their children's children. Yes, that's how I'd love to be remembered.
Funny. Good one. What can I say? My children, they love me so much, and I love them so dearly. That is the only way I can put or attest to your question. Some men will not want to discuss such thing. Maybe out of fear, maybe they have this attitude of not exposing their family. At the same time, it is possible that they are scared, and for that reason, the man wouldn't want to disclose or let the public know whatever that is happening in his life.
It's personal. For me, no. I hardly do share my emotions because I feel, like I said, it's personal for me. I mean, I feel I should be able to come up with my own resolutions or solutions to my challenges. Being the head of the home, I sometimes don't want to seem weak. So when I'm going through, that's the time I sink into myself.
Yeah, it boils down again to how society has conditioned men and fathers. We are taught to suffer in silence. Nobody wants to hear your voice. You crying out. You cry on social media, they will make fun of you. Nobody wants to know whether you have money to pay for school. Just go and look for the money. Anyhow you want to do it. So I think at the end of the day, men learn to confide in other men, but not all the time and not to all men. Every man has that one or two guy that you say, oh guy, things no easy for my side, you rough. Mona. So yet we don't say much to each other, but we understand, but we don't put our business out there. So we may not come out and cry for help. We may not say, do go fund me, I can't pay school fees. But that small pocket of friends and support that we have, we confide in them. That's where even our pastors come in, our male pastors.
There's no shame in being vulnerable. In fact, there's strength in it. If I don't have, I'm not ashamed to tell people I don't have. I will call a friend and say, Oga, send me 2K. I don't get anything now.
I mean, as a man, now, the saying, They will always say, man up, man up. I feel that concept, I mean, almost every child, a boy child growing into adulthood would have heard that word over and over again. And whether we like it or not, that in itself has shaped our perspective in such a way that when we grew ourselves, it was difficult for us to have, conversations. And guess what? Most of us, as a child, didn't even have that window of conversation with our fathers. So it was a whole lot difficult for us to be expressive.
Seeking help, one, every man ego wouldn't want him to ask for help. But trust me, if there is a need for you to be vulnerable, ask. It helps, because the moment you don't, you break down sincerely.
First thing is I try not to be emotional about things, because emotions is like a fly in a bottle of perfume. It can spoil the beauty of what you want to achieve. So I try not to be emotional about things. Do I seek help? Yes, I discuss with people. I discuss with parents, in-laws, my wife, their teachers, friends that we share similar prototype. I discuss with them and I get to learn from them.
Self-care, it plays every role, because if you take a proper care of yourself, you can love more. You give peace of mind to even your wife, because most young men don't know that if they handle themselves poorly, the person that is mostly on the receiving end are practically two people: your wife, your mother, if she's alive.
Yeah, I think one thing we are learning in this generation is that, look, papa die since, mama still dey alive. Like say as papa dey hustle, him try dey take care of himself small, maybe he go still dey alive today. So even as we are running around to fix one or two, we dey remain small change to take care of ourselves, so that we will stay alive to do more.
I think the nature of my job helps me a lot, because once I'm out there, I just have to be happy. So it helped me get over it. It might be different for others, but for me, my job helps me, maintain my self-care and help me balance my emotions. Yeah, my job.
I remember sharing with someone recently that it's a different thing when you are yet to become a father. You have ideas of how you want to run your home. I mean, I will not, when my child does this, I will be patient, I will be tolerant, I will be this. Lately, my child is in a phase where now she asks a lot of questions. Because I'm a phlegmatic also in nature, I hardly talk. So I found my daughter asking me a lot of questions. But somehow I found out that I have been so patient enough to keep answering all of the questions, whether they are sensible, as it were, or they are rhetorical. I just keep answering.
I never knew I could meet up with certain responsibilities that I've been able to face. Fatherhood has helped me realize that there's nothing that is impossible if you put your mind to it.
They say you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only thing you can be. There is a way you go to be pushed to the wall. Instead, go, summon courage. When that school fees must be paid or children are hungry, you will go outside. You will go and look for them. You will find a way to solve the problem. At the same time, as a man, you know that if armed robber shows up in your house today, you must stand in front. If they must shoot somebody, now you supposed to collect first before anybody for that house. So you have to man up. You have to find that strength.
The existence of your family challenges you to do better, challenges you to be more responsible, challenges you to push yourself beyond. You may want to sleep, but sometimes you can't sleep because you know you are accountable and responsible for the family.
Is that many of us were not taught how to be fathers or even how to be men. And unfortunately, the people that were supposed to teach us to were not taught well. So they only pass what they knew to us. And we too, based on the one or two we are learning, we are trying to figure out how to be fathers. So if we had great father models, which we thank God that in this age and time, at least people are realizing that even if your father wasn't a great father, there are other men in your society, men of dignity, of pride, of character that you can emulate. And then most importantly, some of us have learned that there is one father up that is the perfect father figure.
I believe one of the setbacks that men would naturally have is how they were brought up. You know, what they saw growing up. I dealt with complex issues growing up. But however, I've been able to identify some of the things I went through, growing up that could have been a setback being a father. And one of the things that I've been able to do is to think through this process and see what works and what does not work. And so it behooves on every father out there not to be able to repeat the failures of their parents, making them have a setback in being a good father or be responsible as a father.
That one. I've seen, just like I said before this interview started, I've worked on a couple of projects, research and studies. So we are beginning to discover that there's a kind of insanity to fatherly responsibility. And why did I say there's a kind of insanity to that? When you find a father that is not pushed by the existence of the children, there is something wrong with him psychologically. He may not own up to it, he may not accept it, but there is something. Either he is suffering from past trauma that he refuses to accept, or he is suffering from a high level of selfishness that has now deteriorated into insanity. But there is something wrong with him.
It depends again on the man and how he has allowed his experiences shape him. For some men, because of the way they were raised, they were taught to lock up, suffer in silence, don't let anybody hear your voice crying, be a man. And unfortunately, they've not been emotionally available to their children because of that. Their father na conqueror lion. When he comes in, everybody disappears. So they too, when they come into the house, everybody will disappear. But some men are learning that even if that was how you were raised, you can be a different kind of father to your children. You can be a friend to your children. Your children should see you come back from work and rush to embrace you. They should pull your behavior and say, Daddy, how are you?
First of all is ownership. Own your trauma, own your challenge. Most people run away from their experience, and the concept of trauma, as far as I am concerned, is just your experience. And whether we like it or not, the experience we daily have forms our concept, if you like. Own it. That's your experience. It's no other person's experience. Most people were raised to be good son, good father, but they were not raised to be responsible fathers or responsible son. Own your challenges, own your experience. It only becomes trauma when you refuse to own it. You are trying to avoid the fact that your father always beat you. When your father beat you, you cannot change it. You are trying to avoid the fact that your father was a fraud. Oh God, your father and your mother was a fraud. You can't change that. But what you can do is pick a wisdom from that. Do you want to follow that cue, or you want to do different?
Yeah, is realization first, understanding that my papa need to try train me. Okay, but I understand that that was what he knew, but me I know better. Okay, so I understand that this is how I am based on how my father trained me, but me I want to train my children differently. So I will consciously break that cycle by saying no. For me, my children will be able to be close to me. I will be friends with my children. I will discipline them. I won't spoil them, but I will not be tiger and lion. I will be approachable. I will love them and they will love me.
Okay, so my name is Oyelade Taiwo.
My name is Ekore Kingsley, popularly known as Boy of God.
My name is Joseph Dairo.
My name is Roy Osuji.
Thank you very much. My name is Bunsha and I am a father, aka Dad, aka Dada.
My name is Christopher Adidi. I am a father.
And I am a father.
I'm a father.
I am a father.
I am a proud father.
My name's Mr. Obiajolo Sonny Osunde. I'm the father of very beautiful children.
God bless you.
Oh.